their sisters, their husbands, their wives, and just a very difficult moment where the community is now trying to pull together to offer some sort of comfort to those in need.
There is this great sense of sharing this collective grief, and we were talking with Dr. Victor Fernari, a psychiatrist at the North Shore Long Island Jewish Medical Group, and Doctor, you were saying how the need for all this, we seek that kind of group grieving comfort, right?
We do. I think right now the most important thing for parents to realize and for the adults in the community is that children really need parents to be available, to be supportive, to be reassuring, to be encouraging, and as much as it's difficult for the adults in the community, I think that parents really need to try to temper their own anxiety, their own worries, so that they can really be there to support their children.
We're listening to U.S. Senator Richard Blumenthal from Connecticut. Let's listen for a second, because it means much to the officials there.
Are with you tonight. Thank you for being here, and thank you for bringing your children so that they can see that there is good in people. And thank you for reaffirming, especially at this season, for all of us, whatever our faith, whatever our beliefs on other occasions, on other issues, that we are one people and we will be one people in times of crisis and testing and adversity. I thank you.
That was U.S. Senator Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut. And Dr. Fernari, it must mean much to these people. These are not long speeches. Just offering comfort and knowing that the leaders, the elected officials of the state are there to comfort them must do something for them.
I think the initial reaction of the families and the community is one of shock and disbelief. And I think that right now everything that can be done to offer support, to demonstrate that the community can come together is critical, and it really provides a kind of psychological first aid to demonstrate that we're there, we're going to make sure that you're all okay, and whatever you need, let us know, we're here to help you.
You know, we've been talking about the kind of counseling that the children are going to need for this, but what about the parents?
Well, certainly, I want to reiterate that the vast majority of people are resilient. And even though this kind of an experience really exceeds our normal capacity to cope, because it's out of the range of ordinary human experience, and it's one in which so many people felt that they had a threat that they were going to die, as we heard from that courageous teacher, and then so many people lost their lives. So I think that for those who are more directly impacted, over time, once the grieving and the natural community reactions, the family's memorial, the burials proceed, I think that those children and adults who are more severely impacted will benefit from a more trauma-focused approach.
And how about just the viewers who are out there who are saying, oh my gosh, I just can't take this. They're suffering too, right?
Well, I think everyone is impacted, and certainly we're overwhelmed because it's so unspeakable. And I think probably we want to remind ourselves that it's not a good idea for us to leave the television on all day long with children watching. And if kids are in earshot, not to have telephone conversations that they can hear, because we want to really minimize exposure, because every time we bring it up, it re-traumatizes youth. So obviously that's different for the immediate community that's impacted than it is for the general community.
And also monitor what they're doing on the web.
Oh, sure. Well, that's so difficult today.
Hard to avoid that.
Because everyone is so plugged in technologically. But I think really we want to have kids know that school is a safe place, and for the vast majority, Monday's a school day, and school is the work of kids. So we want to reassure them that school is safe and you go back to school. For the immediate Newtown community, obviously the healing will take longer, and obviously everything that can be done will be offered to them.
Well, we should say the schools are aware of that as well. Absolutely. And they are, many of them, I've gotten emails from the two kids, the schools that my kids go to, they are reevaluating their security measures. I think a lot of schools across the country.
A bunch of schools across the country will. Well, Victor Fernari, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks, Doctor.
We appreciate your time.
Jeff Begay's is in Newtown. We want to bring our coverage back up there. He's at the scene at the hospital, I believe. Right, Jeff?
We're at the command center. This is that firehouse in Sandy Hook, right down the street from the school where the shooting, of course, happened. And this was the place where many family members, victims rushed to after hearing about the shooting at the school. And so this is an area where we've seen a lot of heartbreak, a great deal of grief all afternoon long. And the governor, we heard his remarks just a few minutes ago. He was here a couple of hours ago, talking to some of the family members of the victims. What they did is set up a room in this firehouse behind me where family members of the victims were gathered. The governor went there to comfort those people, and many of them assigned state troopers, their own state trooper, there to provide the information and the help they need at this very difficult time. As I said, this was a place where a lot of people rushed to for information, but some people who live in this community just came here to look and to see for themselves this tragedy. I spoke to a man whose son was in the school at the time. His son's 7 years old. This man didn't want to go on camera, but he told me what his son told him. And his son said that he smelled the gunpowder and he saw the bodies. And so this is what families in this community are dealing with tonight. Some people coming here trying to comfort others who are obviously sharing the grief that so many people here feel. I spoke to a man. Here's what he had to say, and I think he sums up what so many people here feel.
It's horrible that such evil exists in the United States and in Sandy Hook in particular. That's the nature of the world we live in, I guess.
As I said, it was something they've never seen before. It's little kids. When you're dealing with little kids, it's a panic, you know. Yes, they did the routine. They should. But, yeah, it was not right.
That was a woman who was in the firehouse this afternoon, and she was talking to some of the people who were in the school, some of the administrators, and she told me that she had a friend who's a teacher who was in the school. And I asked her what her friend said to her, and she told me that her friend, the teacher, who was in the school at the time of the shooting, was stunned, was having a difficult time putting into words how she felt at that moment. This woman also told me, and again, she was a woman who was in here, in this firehouse behind me, helping out inside. And this is what she said. She said, you know, they train, they drill, they do fire drills, but there is no drill that can prepare you for something like this. We're live in Sandy Hook. Jeff Begay's Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
All right, Jeff Begay. There's no way you can be prepared for something like this. I think it's well put, unfortunately. Jeff, thank you.
You know, a few moments ago, we showed you scenes from St. Rose of Lima where Candlelight Vigil was taking place. Eyewitness News reporter Matt Kozar is now outside the church with the latest. A lot of people there, Matt.
Sade, I've covered a lot of vigils at churches and elsewhere, and I've never experienced anything quite like this. There are thousands of people gathered outside of St. Rosa. That's because the pews, they are filled. There's no place left to stand in the church. Now, many are holding hands. Of course, they can't hear what the priests and monsignors have to say. They've just been standing out here more or less to show support, strength in numbers. And from what we can tell, it looks like all of the town has come out tonight. They were preparing for the holidays, for Christmas in just about 10 days, but of course a very different mood here tonight. They're surrounding the nativity scene, staring in, looking in at what was meant to be a celebration. Many words of comfort. We spoke with a father a few moments ago. He told us he's not ready to tell his 6-year-old son what had happened here. He's breaking the news very slowly. He was the first spiritual leader to comfort the victims. He said this was the toughest day for him in all of his priesthood. So a lot of emotions for the thousands of people in this bedrock community between Hartford and New York City. Of course, we've been talking to people, and we will have the very latest for you as we continue to gather more of these emotions and thoughts. But quite a scene out here in front of St. Rose tonight. Sade, Bill, back to you.
Matt, can people outside, and more people outside the scenes than inside, can they hear what's going on, or are they not being able to hear?
Bill, it's very muffled. They can't get a good sense of what's going on. Of course, some people closer to the doors can hear better than others, but they're really here to show support, to talk to each other, to lean on each other. And, you know, words go so far, but just having someone stand next to you, hold your hand, give you a hug makes a world of difference.
Boy,
Matt,
isn't that the truth?
and it looks like people are still arriving there on the scene, still trying to offer their support and of course, their condolences.
No question. Matt Kozar reporting from the church there where we just saw the governor and the U.S. Senator Richard Blumenthal. Matt, thank you very much. We'll see you a little later for Eyewitness News at 11 o'clock. Right now, we want to reset the scene for you a little bit. This has been quite a day. It started 10 hours ago in Newtown, Connecticut. A gunman, 20-year-old Adam Lanza, walking into the school after shooting his mother dead in the house where he lived and she lived, and then killing 26 people on campus, and then himself. Marcus Solis has been there since it began, and he wants to sort of reset it and bring us the latest from the scene right outside of campus. Marcus?
And Bill, State Police saying that the victims were found in 2 rooms, basically, that the shooting area was confined to 2 rooms. But we now know that, of course, this rampage started before that. It started at the Lanza family home, in which the suspect's mother was shot and killed, and then Adam Lanza came here to Sandy Hook Elementary School, where he opened fire, killing 26 people, 6 adults, 20 children, and the rest of the school. There was hundreds of children in the school, a population almost about 700 student population in that school. Well, they were on lockdown and they were terrified.
We're evacuating people. So we ran out. There's police about at every door. They're leading us down this way, quick, come on.
Kids hiding in closets, in bathrooms, anywhere they could try to avoid the carnage that was unfolding. A shocking eruption of violence that claimed the lives of 20 children. It all started just after 9:30 this morning. Police called to Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown via a 911 call.
Sandy Hook School. Caller's indicating she thinks there's someone shooting in the building. The front glass has been broken out of the school. They're unsure why.
The first officers on the scene immediately recognizing the seriousness of the situation.
Okay, these units in the school, I got bodies here. Let's get ambulance.
The school was put on lockdown while state and local police searched the building for the gunman, who was armed with 4 weapons and wearing a bulletproof vest.
They're in one section or one area of the school. That's the best I can do on that answer. I don't know specifically how many rooms were involved. I was told that there were 2, but in one section of the school building.
In all, 27 people were killed, including the gunman who was found in the school. Sources identify him as 20-year-old Adam Lanza. 6 adults were among his victims, but the majority of those killed, innocent children, a loss of life that nearly brought President Obama to tears.
This evening, Michelle and I will do what I know every parent in America will do, which is hug our children a little tighter, and we'll tell them that we love them, and we'll remind each other how deeply we love one another. But there are families in Connecticut who cannot do that tonight, and they need all of us right now.
Well, police haven't released many details as to what went on inside the school. We understand that the suspect was armed with 2 semi-automatic handguns and a semi-automatic rifle, which was found in the vehicle that he had come to the school. The processing of the scene continues. The medical examiner's office is here on the scene. And again, this is being described by seasoned law enforcement professionals as a difficult and horrific scene, as you could only imagine. We're live in Newtown. Marcus Solis, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
No question. No question. The words that it can't begin to describe it. Marcus Solis, been at the scene all day for us. Marcus, thank you for your reporting today. Wish it were better circumstances, that's for sure.
That's for sure, indeed. Well,